Good evening, and welcome to the Talking Shop podcast. My name is Michael. That's Josh. Thanks for being here. Josh, how are you?
I can't complain. If I was any better, I'd be twins.
That saying never made any sense to me, but I hear it all the time.
Probably because you're so good, there's like enough good mood to fill two
So go
bodies.
around.
Yeah.
Just go around. How was your weekend?
It was good. The shop was busy Friday and Saturday, which is what we wanted. Sunday was chill day, my day off. So I played a lot of Call of Duty with my kids.
New one? The new one?
Too. Yeah, the newest one. Yep.
How is it? Is that so? I know that a couple years ago, I used to be just a Call of Duty, just degenerate, just hours and hours. But I was always a campaign guy because anytime that I would go online, it was like I was Neo at the beginning of the Matrix, where everybody else was just moving faster than me.
Yeah, that's the downside. I only play online, so I'll buy the game and never once do the campaign. But I got excited about this one because the old Modern Warfare 2 had all the sweet maps, my all-time favorite maps. Mm-hmm. So I assumed this was like the new PlayStation 5 and they just had the same maps, but like all state of the art, and I was wrong. But I still got hooked on it. And my favorite thing to do is to sit back and just snipe people. It's so fun.
So, I mean, yeah, I would get on there, and then it was clear I would get in a lobby where everybody knew each other, and I would just get run over.
Yeah, when you play online, you got to start off with the guns that don't have any attachments, and you just got to get your butt kicked for a while, level up those guns, and learn the maps. That's what a huge part of that game is having the maps memorized.
Knowing where you're at.
I love playing it, so I got to do a bunch of that on Sunday while you were probably making money at a card show.
Well, I don't know.
You went to the Raleigh show.
I did, and before I get into that, let me catch up on chat. Derek, good evening. Mackie, you didn't come up to my table, and if you did and I missed you, I apologize.
He wasn't there.
Danny, what's up? Anthony, what is up? Facebook user, I need secret codes. Justin, hello. And another Facebook user is saying they're coming. Anyway, back to the Raleigh show. It was bananas.
I heard.
It was so crowded. I heard the next day that we were actually, and hopefully this doesn't get anybody in trouble, that they were in violation of fire code. They had so many people in the building. So
good problem to have.
It was. I don't know if you ever go to the show in Raleigh, they have two separate venues. One, I call the big venue. It looks like a normal show. This show was in a round venue. And so it was like a dome. And so they had the tables on the outside, and then in the inner circle and in the very middle, there's always this vendor in these North Carolina shows that has this pop-up retail shop. Literally, they've got displays and everything. It's actually pretty impressive. And all they do is Pokemon.
Yeah, I've seen them at some of the shows.
It's pretty impressive. So it was nonstop. They even had to extend the hours on Saturday. I've never seen a card show that busy. And oddly enough, I think one of the things that helped was that it being a circle, I think people got disoriented. Like you would just, you know how you walk and you're like just looking at tables? And in a normal show, you just get to the end of the row and then turn around and go back up another row. But if you're not paying attention, you'll just find yourself back where you started and you're like, how'd I get here? I mean, it was a cool layout. Have you ever done the one in the round? It's not a gondola. I don't even know what it's called. It's a big dome. Have you ever done that one?
I have not. No, I in fact tried to get some tables late to this show, but didn't have any luck, as you know, because you were one of the ones trying to help me get some.
Yeah, I was trying to facilitate that. But, again, with my value box, completely overperformed. It's nuts. I think at least 60% of the play at these shows for people is finding cards in great shape and sending them out to be graded. I think that's.
Or what about young ones, young collectors buying some of the lower end stuff because it's in their budget? Did you see a lot of that, or maybe not?
I did not see a lot of that. I mean, I had the young collectors coming up with, they were super cute, looking at like trade up challenges and hey, mister, do you want to buy my cards? And then, maybe 1 out of 5 of them, there's really something there. They've taken care of the cards, and it's something that I would buy from them. The majority of them, it's just I can't buy the cards because I tell them, I'm straight up. I'm like, look, if I'm buying this from you, I'm putting it right back out so that I can sell it. And while this is cool, I don't know if I can move this today. So that's how I wiggle out of there. So,
nice.
But it was great on Saturday. Sunday obviously was a little bit slower, but still very, very busy, especially for a Sunday. And Justin, we'll get to that. In fact, I'm going to star that.
Yes, Justin, it's a good question.
And we'll get back to that. Like the Circle Prison in Thor, it was actually like that. It was like an arena, and we were wondering what it used to be, and I have no idea what they used to have there in that building. So,
go ahead.
And then this weekend, I'll go into this after you finish your thought. What were you about to say?
Oh, I was just going to get into one of the first code towards the beginning of the break here, but
absolutely.
You might want to finish your thought because I'll have to give a little breakdown of how to redeem this code.
Okay. And then I'll get my screen ready for that. And then this weekend we've got a bit of a decision for local card folks to make. Do you go to the Charlotte Card Show, which is in its normal spot? Burke does a great job. Or do you go to the Kannapolis Card Show, which is actually at the baseball stadium, which James is putting on his show there. So it's a good problem to have. It was a tough decision for me. I'm actually going to Kannapolis and setting up there because I have a whole bunch of baseball. Hopefully, being in a baseball stadium to do a card show means I'm going to sell a whole bunch of baseball cards.
I think they have 3 choices. They could come to Grand Slam on Saturday. We've got lots of cards and sealed products. So, okay. Yes, good problem to have. So we're going to give out a couple codes for our break site. So first thing I'm going to do, if you look in the comments, that is the website where we go to our breaks, and Michael has it pulled up there. So we're going to flash a code across the screen. You'll need to do a couple things. It's pretty easy. Michael's got his screen pulled up live there. So you can only add a break code credit to your account. So you have to have an account first on the break page. So it's really easy. It takes 30 seconds to set one up.
Yep.
At the top, go up and create an account because you got to have one of those to begin with. Once you do, Michael's logged into his account there. So Michael, what you'll do is you'll go to the little pencil edit button there, click on the pencil, and you'll see all your info, but there's another tab at the top called credits. Click on the credits button, redeem a code, click on that, and there it is. There's your code. So that credit will sit in your account, and the next break you want to jump in, you'll have an option to use that credit in the break. These credits, like the first one we're going to post, is a $5 credit. I know that's not a lot, but we're going to give out several of those tonight. It's scrolling across the screen right now. You don't have to be in a super mad dash. There will be 4 people for each. This code is redeemable 4 times. So it should work flawlessly. And if not, blame my brother because he programmed it. So
Josh, this is also a podcast. Should we say the code?
Oh, yes. Well, I have a feeling it won't make it to the listening viewers.
It probably won't. This podcast, it is Monday, the 27th, just to put a timestamp on it. And this podcast is going to publish either first thing tomorrow morning or even later this evening. So this code may not be good anymore, but Josh, you want to give them that first code?
Yes, it is 445011. A couple have already been claimed. Both customers tried claiming it twice. Shame on them. We didn't see that you do that, but I guess I can't blame you for trying, It's redeemable 4 times, but it's only once per person. So I had to be clear there. So keep listening to the podcast tonight. We're going to give away 4 more codes, and maybe if these are a hit, we'll up the ante a little bit next time or something. So
if I can talk Josh into making a podcast only code for listeners, so the folks that are tuning in live don't always get the jump.
I can't do that. I'm incapable, but Joe, my brother, can.
Joe.
He's in the chat, and I know he's listening or watching, so I'm sure he can do that. You have his info. Private message him and give him the idea.
I will.
He can build it. So, and there is a break that just filled that you're going to be breaking. Do you know when you're breaking that yet? Because I'm sure I'll be asked that. That break is filled.
It's either going to be tomorrow or late tonight. I'm probably going to try to get it done tonight, but we'll see.
And if you have credit that you've redeemed, this is a break that's on the horizon. We haven't built it yet, but it's coming very soon. Topps Chrome Ben Baller edition.
Ben Baller.
Mixed with a couple of these Topps Archives snapshot boxes that have autographs inside. So that's a little baseball, a little unique baseball. We try to do a Ben Baller one every year at least. So
nice.
Stay tuned if you like baseball. Phoenix football comes out Wednesday, so you might want to save some credit for that or be ready to jump on a break of that. So
before we leave the preview of the shows this weekend, please, if you see me at the Kannapolis show, if you're in earshot of this, please come up, say hello. Love talking shop at shows. I'm not going to try to say that again. That just worked out. But Michael, hello. Facebook user is asking, do you have any Ben Baller available in the shop? Josh.
So we don't. I don't off. I have to get that product third party. I don't get it through my distributor. So we get a box or 2 third party. We pay strong for it, so it's not like I make much money on it. But good question. But thank you. JP says already gone. LOL. JP, I've noticed you're trying to redeem codes that aren't available, trying to outsmart the system. Shame. We're going to public shame anybody. All your failed attempts.
Well, before we get going with the rest of the opening rip, let me do a quick rundown. This is when we go over the format of the show, just for folks that are joining us for the first time. You heard the first half of the opening rip. Then we go to New in the Shop, Behind the Counter, where we take a look at the dealings and the wheelings and the dealings of a local card shop, hobby advice and listener questions. And I'm going to see if you guys can submit some questions through some voice messages. I would love to see how that works. Card from the vault. I have another comic from the vault. New in the shop next week or coming soon. And then crazy stat of the week. But first, the rest of the opening rip. Josh.
Yes.
What is your favorite error card of all time? And do you own any error cards?
I have no idea if I own any error cards. Probably not. There is one. So my favorite one, I've been talking about it lately, is the 1990 Topps Frank Thomas no name card. So there's a ton of mystery around this card. I was doing some research before the podcast. Nobody quite knows how the card made it out into the wild without a name on it. There's theories that it was caught very early in the sheets were thrown away by Topps and they were dug out of a dumpster. These are all just conspiracy theories, but regardless, very, very few made it out in the wild. And it is just Frank Thomas's regular $5 rookie card from Topps, but the one with no name printed on the front is worth quite a bit of money. So much money, in fact, that a PSA 10 is valued at $30,000.
Yeah.
A PSA 6 easily sells, at least when this article is written, for over $5,000. I haven't seen one in person ever. There is suspected to be below 400 of these out in the wild. There are legitimate numbers. At one point, BGS and PSA population of 77 and 207 graded, respectively. So BGS had 77 of those cards graded, and 207 were graded through PSA. So the card exists. There's hundreds of it out there, but in the overall scheme of things, on a card that's 30-something years old, less than 400 makes it very rare. So I would love to see that card in person one day, maybe even own it. One came to the shop the other day, but it had the name on it. And that's what got me thinking about that card. So that's probably my all-time favorite error card.
Okay.
How about you?
So I showed one of my favorite error cards. It's infamous. It was the Billy Ripken card from, I think it's a Fleer, right? Fleer, Billy Ripken, with some profanity at the end of the bat.
Bat barrel.
Yeah, the bat knob, which I saw a mock-up of a bat barrel, like if it was like a Topps Dynasty, if they got that barrel and used it as the knob as like a relic, that card, that would be fantastic. That never do it.
That bat has to be somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
it has to be
someone should do that research and find out where that bat is.
Yeah. But Jacob, if you could pull the two photos, or the photo that I sent you, just the front of the card first, that'd be great. So when I first got back into the hobby, I pulled this card out of Topps Fire. It's Juan Soto. It's the magenta parallel. I didn't even know what parallels were. This was like one of the first things that I opened up when I first got back into the hobby in 2020. And so I didn't know what parallels were. I didn't know that cards were serial numbered, because they didn't have that in 1987. So I was like, oh, cool. And then I turned the backs around to start looking at what the backs look like. And I saw this. And if you can't see this, this card is serial numbered. That magenta or red parallel in Topps 2020 Topps Fire is out of 25. But the card that I have on the screen that I pulled from the pack was serial numbered 26 out of 25.
You know, I'll be in 5 years of doing this. I have not seen that ever before.
I've seen it, and I went out to some forums and asked, and people have said that before. I should have kept this card. I sold it. It was one of my first sales ever on eBay.
You idiot!
I know.
So I have a question. Did you take that picture there?
I did.
What did you use to take the picture, and how is the card standing up?
There's a little box or a little thing right behind the card.
Okay, so it's leaning up against something?
It's leaning up against something.
What's the background? Like, is it one of those light boxes, or is it...
So this is how early I was. I knew that I needed good photos. I got a packaging box and cut the sides and the top out of it, and had lamps pointed inside the box through tissue paper. I made my own. It looks so janky. I still have it.
Well, the pictures
embarrassing.
turned out good enough. I got interested just in your picture quality.
So, but so that's one of my favorite, just because I pulled it. It doesn't happen a lot now. Now, error cards are like poo-pooed upon.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you pull the 101 Babe Ruth, and it's got George Brett's autograph, and so things blow up.
You get mad. Why would you get mad over that? I mean, it's just Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I could just imagine, and I don't think that was a Topps product. I think that was a Panini product. I think it was like National Treasures or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, nowadays people want the perfect card. They don't want an error card. So,
I could just imagine them making that into like a Snickers commercial. The want to get away. He's sitting there with eating a Snickers, and the Babe Ruth cut auto is just sitting on his desk, and he's wondering, if he should tell anybody. But yeah, so the reason why I brought up favorite error cards is, in case you did not know and you stumbled upon this episode, we have a special interview a little later talking about an error card, an infamous, hopefully we're going to try to make it even more infamous, Michael Jordan error card. Now, there's error cards with like really good players, and error cards with Hall of Famers, and there's error cards with no-name players. But an error card with Michael Jordan on it carries some weight.
This card could be potentially enormous. Yeah.
So, but before we get to that, let us talk about what is on the shelves this week at Grand Slam, Josh.
There is a couple pretty darn good products coming out. So Wednesday, probably my second favorite product, period, is Phoenix football. It's one of my all-time favorites. That hits the shelf Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, Topps Allen and Ginter Chrome Baseball.
That's one of my favorite.
So if you are not a local customer, that'll be on the website for purchase. And then on Friday, if nothing changes, we've got Bowman Inception Baseball and Leaf Exotic Basketball. Our Leaf Exotic Football has been doing really well. So Leaf Exotic Basketball, if all goes well, that's what's going to be hitting the shelves this week, along with a little Pokemon product that comes out Friday. And another Magic product, but most of our listeners here are sports related. So,
yeah. Let me ask you this. I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you love it when I put you on the spot about product. That Bowman Inception Baseball. So there's Bowman Chrome. There's Bowman Chrome and Bowman Draft. That Bowman Inception, is that more like Bowman Baseball where there's vets, or is it all prospects? Do you know?
So last year they reintroduced this product, and I think it was before we had taken the shop over. I think this product is an older product that they brought back last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was unfamiliar with it last year until I started seeing a bunch of it open. We did some breaks on it. But it is, Derek's right when he says it has the best looking cards of the group. They look just like Topps Inception cards, but it is just rookies and prospects.
Okay. Yeah. So no vets.
There wasn't last year. So okay. I should probably know that. But
so I'll have to take a look at the checklist. But, there was, the first wave of Bowman Chrome, the Jackson Cheerios of the world. That was the big chase there. And then Bowman Draft, I believe. That's the Jackson Holiday and who was the other kid? Jackson Holiday, and I could see it now. He has his arms raised up.
Do you remember what team?
No. He was the other chase. You guys pulled. There's a gold auto that was pulled. I saw it in the shop today.
Rutschman?
No.
What product?
Bowman Draft. Jackson Holiday.
Elijah
and Elijah Green.
Green,
yeah. So it'll be interesting. That's a sneaky cool product if you're into the prospect thing.
Let me give you the online.
Ooh, hold on, Derek. Are you serious? Drew Jones is in Bowman Inception. Please tell me that's true.
I'm not. Let me read you the press release for it. Capture the youthful exuberance of the game's future superstars with this colorful release of 2022 Bowman Inception, bringing top prospects into your collection in a big way.
Boom.
Collect the entire 100 card base set and look out once again for the Inception Inaugurations foil stamp signifying players receiving their first Bowman Inception card.
Wow. So there's not just
a checklist, but
so no checklist yet, but that if Drew Jones, if that's true, this product is going to be enormous. And if for you guys,
it's going to be huge.
That for you guys that don't know, Drew Jones is Andrew Jones from the Braves. That's his kid, and he's supposed to be the next big thing. Yeah. So
I think we should probably hit some of these comments really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So because I'll need to answer a couple of these. So we will be posting some Series 1 jumbo boxes on the site when they restock. Derek, the answer is yes, when and if they restock. The downside is they will be nowhere near where we sold the first 10 cases of at $170 a box. So it'll be probably over $200 a box, but we'll have some hopefully next week. JP, Joe, if you're listening, JP says, I think you should make a hard trivia question for credit in the podcast. That would be cool. I agree that would be cool. We'll have to make it hard enough that like you couldn't just Google the answer. Hello, Sean. Mason's Car says, hi, what's up? Mackie says, I have a natural voice for sporting events. Watch out, Romo. Mason's Card says, please say my name. Say my name. Say my name.
No, he did not say sing. He said say.
And Derek's hoping Gunner is in that product. So Mason says, hi, please, right now, please, hi, say my name. Don't spam the comments too much or we have to kick you.
Yes,
so
that's right. That's right.
I think is it time? I think it's time maybe for another credit. Are we getting close to doing the soul of the game?
Yeah, we're about halfway through the show.
All right. Oh, look at the air on the screen. Get your fingers ready for our listeners. The next code is 44584. D as in David. Once again, that's 44584D for $5 in break credit. Mason says, Michelle, I think Mason means Michael. Are you Josh's best friend? Heck no.
No way. No way.
We are we're blood brothers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We are good friends. I don't have a best friend. I just have good friends. So, and Michael is one of them.
And as Mr. Miyagi said, you pretty okay too. All right, let's get to our next segment, which is Behind the Counter, which coming up is this interview that I had with Tony, the guy that pulled this card. But I want to get a little backstory, your backstory. So with regards to this card, tell me your side of things, because it's just amazing to me that this thing's just been floating around for 30 years, and now it's resurfaced onto this podcast.
So, yeah, if I remember right, Tony brought this card into the shop like 2 years ago, maybe. I could be off a little bit, but it was a while ago. And just wanted to know if we had any idea about this card. He couldn't find any card that ever looked like this. And so let me show what the card looks like. It's the 1998 Soul of the Game Skybox Premium Michael Jordan insert. So these letters, Soul of the Game, are supposed to be rainbow colored. and the card sells for like $800 or $900. It's a really tough to pull, beautiful insert. So he's got this one with white letters, and he's stumped. And he says, "I've just never seen a card with white letters, not only of Michael Jordan, but of no player ever." And he's done a lot of research. So I said, not knowing anything or thinking it was that rare or anything, I was like, let me ask a couple people. So I remember we sent a picture to Aaron down at Palmetto in Lexington, because he grades stuff all the time. I think he might have even looked at it at a trade night, but he sent it to a couple people via text message. No one had ever seen it. So we said, well, let's submit it for grading. So he submitted it for grading, and I believe it came back, and maybe in the interview he'll correct me if I'm wrong here, but it came back, PSA wouldn't grade it, and they said, I can't remember what they said. I thought it was something like,
I think he said misprint.
So, which is odd because they grade misprints. So we were kind of stumped about that. And so I think it had them stumped, to be honest. And so, so off into the box it went. And, a year or two later, we bought a whole bunch of cards from Tony not long ago, and he brought this card back up. And, my friend Charlie was super intrigued at it. And we just said, let's take this card. Let us do some research on it. We've pushed it out to all sorts of people. No one has seen this card before. No one has seen another player of this card with white lettering. It's a complete and utter mystery. The Facebook trolls, when you ask and show it in a Facebook Michael Jordan group, it's just, that's a fake card. It's a fake card. Everybody thinks everyone's out to scam them. And so Charlie said, look, I'm not trying to sell this card or anything. I just want to know if anyone's ever seen one like it. Right. There's been some pretty big offers that have come in for the card, but nowhere near what it could potentially sell for if it truly gets graded by Beckett or PSA as a true error card. And if it's the only one, we just talked about 400 Frank Thomas cards that are not, it's not Michael Jordan, and you're talking $30,000 for a PSA 10. And so this card, if it's the only one, then it could be huge. So You've got some information also, and you did the interview. So I don't know if you have any other info outside of the interview, because I know you talked to potentially the actual designer of this card, right? From Upper Deck?
So there are a couple big accounts. Chris over at Card Ladder, he used to be House of Jordans on Instagram, and he had a podcast called, I believe, one of the first collecting podcasts, or hobby podcasts. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, do you know anything about this? And he honestly said, I have no clue. I've never seen it. And then Christina, another member of their team, gave me an account on Instagram called Arena Designs. And Arena Designs, she was actually, I believe, on the design team that designed this card. And so she went over the manufacturing of it and how this could have happened. She has hypothesized that this is this is one of two things. And let me just read it. I don't want to put words into anybody's mouth here. And just bear with me for those of you guys. There was never a version of that was intentional. That sold the game card without foil. We printed the first 4 colors and then stamped the rainbow over it. Either a sheet got through without the foil on it, in which case there would be multiple cards like this,
right?
Because it would be an entire sheet, or someone had a sheet that was sent to the office for color and registration, and they cut the Jordan card out of it. That is my best estimate of what may have happened. That's
pretty insane.
That's pretty telling. I'm hoping that there was one sheet and there's this one card, and I mentioned it. Yeah, and then there's the rest of them out there, and there's this albino set of Soul of the Game cards. So I'm just hoping. So I think this would be the time to where we cut over to the interview. We're going to take a back seat. I pre-recorded an interview with Tony. I hope you guys enjoy, and then we'll be right back. Click. Jacob, you clicked the button. Welcome to the Talking Shop podcast, Tony. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Absolutely.
How are things? I know you're on your way to a softball game.
Yeah.
Any predictions about the score?
We're going to win.
There you go.
I won't get into the numbers, but we're going to be okay.
Proud papa there. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep you long, but I'm just excited to get into the story behind this Jordan card. But before we do that, how'd you get started in collecting? Who do you collect now?
Yeah.
Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself there.
Yeah, I got started in collecting. I had no idea about cards, but at the time it was my sister's best friend's boyfriend, right? And we
I need a flow chart. I need a whiteboard.
We went over to their house one day because we were just messing around, whatever. And the boyfriend was laying on the couch and he was counting his 87 Topps football and baseball cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I started looking at them, thought they were real cool, and he started counting out the doubles. And I came home with a handful of doubles, and that's where it started.
Wow. Did you play sports as a kid?
I did. I played football in high school, and then I briefly went to college to play football, then came home and started working. Yeah. It was not fun anymore.
So you mentioned, so it was football and baseball, and then it just sort of branched out from there. Did you start opening up packs? I mean, so talk to me about that.
It started with football and baseball, but I quickly ran into basketball.
Okay. Yeah,
I ran into the collecting the Jordans and whatnot and all the players, Dominique and Patrick Ewing from that time. So that's where the majority of my collection lied for many years.
Okay. All right.
But since then, I would say probably the last 2 years, it's went a completely different direction.
Okay. And what direction was that?
I only collect PSA 10 Mike Trout refractors.
That's pretty narrow. And,
yeah.
And well, you can get it. And expensive.
Yeah. On my Instagram, it does get expensive. But there's so many different products out there. You can, if you try to collect all of it, you're really going to get overwhelmed and end up drowning.
Right.
So I just did a lot of research before I even started buying the Trouts. I zeroed in on the Topps Chrome, and I don't even collect the update.
Okay.
It's just the first issue of Topps Chrome, and I stick with it.
All right.
And go after the 10s. I just like PSA better. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I find a hard to find version of his refractor and something else, I typically go ahead and buy it and just have it reslabbed.
And we're just talking about, so what product and what year are we talking about? Any?
2011 to present.
Okay.
Topps Chrome.
Refractors. And so
all PSA 10s.
And PSA 10.
Yeah.
So which ones are you missing? Are you or is it that wide, or is it still plenty to pick up?
I'm probably halfway there.
Wow.
I'm probably halfway there. Yeah. I started out just kind of, remember that game Hungry Hippos? You just trying to grab everything you could find.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started that in the beginning, and then I realized that, I'm going to wait for the more rare, lower numbered 10s to come along.
Right.
Grab them up, because they're not as readily available as the base card or the base refractor, or the pink or the sepia or anything like that.
Do you do people find you through your Instagram account to see if you're interested in what they have, or do you go to shows and hunt for these things?
Don't go to shows.
Okay.
I find everything on eBay.
Okay.
And I had the first guy the other day hit me up, on Instagram, just seeing if I wanted to buy something he had. But it wasn't a Topps Chrome.
Right.
It was a Archives card of Mike Trout. And I love the card. It was a beautiful card, but it wasn't graded. And I just told him I wasn't interested. So.
Will you only buy it in the slab, or
only buy it in the slab?
Okay,
only,
so you're not
buy
gonna,
it in the slab. Yeah.
You're not going to take a risk on a raw one, and
no.
Okay.
No, because I'm guaranteed the condition.
Right.
If I buy it in a 10,
Fantastic.
Sometimes a 9 if I can help it. Like his 2012 Bowman Chrome Gold. I think there's 6 or 7 9s and only 1 10 out there.
Oh my goodness!
So I grabbed one of the 9s.
Okay, and then you'll level up
if the opportunity presents itself. But the 9 is certainly a 9. It's too off center to crack and resend in for a 10.
Well, let me ask you this: Why? I mean, a lot of people can say Trout. He's a great player, but why Trout and not somebody else in basketball or football? Like, why not Brady or anybody like that?
I'm too far behind the game in Brady. I entertained that.
Right.
I know Josh goes after Brady.
Yep.
You chase a lot of his earlier years in PSA 10s, they're astronomical in the price.
Right.
I really like the Topps Chrome series, and at some point when Topps lost the license for NFL, it switched over, and I just had no interest in the other brands.
Right.
Jordans are, I guess I could get back into Jordans, but anything Jordan PSA 10 right now is also through the roof.
Yeah.
That's why I stick to Trouts, because I can easily go back to 2011 and start from there and just start eating them up.
Well, let me get to the meat of the program here. This is where what everybody's tuning in for. Tell us about the day that you pulled this Jordan card. I'm calling it an albino Jordan card. But tell us about the day you pulled this and the circumstances around that and what you thought initially when you pulled it.
Well, it was really an uneventful day. There was nothing special about it. I mean, going back to that time, there was nothing special about it, because back then all we had was Beckett.
Right.
You couldn't get on the internet and do Google searches to find out more about the card.
Right. And then you said this was 1998?
1998.
Okay. So 1998.
So I like I said, I'm flipping through the packs, opening the cards up, and this card comes out. And I really didn't think anything about it. At first, I thought it was a little odd because it didn't have any color on it, except for like the top edge.
Right.
But I really didn't give it any more thought than that. I slid it into a soft sleeve, into a top loader, and into a box it went. That's really, how that day went.
Okay.
Didn't think anything else about it.
How long before you pulled it out of there again?
20 years.
Are you? Sorry, I'm going to keep this clean. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was 20 years, and it was maybe 21, but it was during 2020, late 2020, early 2021.
Wow.
And I mean, I had not even given the card a second thought all those years, but then I started seeing the things on YouTube pop up about how popular cards had gotten again. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go back and dig through my stuff and see what I got, like everybody else was, right?
Yep.
And this card came out, and I was like, oh, I remember this one. And I went, at that point, I'd gone straight into eBay. I was like, well, I'm going to go in here searching in eBay, right?
And you couldn't find it.
Well, I couldn't find it.
Right.
Every one of them in there had colors, and then I think there were maybe 1 or 2 color variations of the card, depending on the way the color started at the top.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's interesting. And I kept digging, and I think somewhere along the lines, I started searching the other players that were from that subset, and I couldn't find any cards like that either. Googled the card, no information. Everything came up in color.
Right.
And at that point, I had still not even found, Grand Slam and Rock Hill. So that was my next Google search, was local card stores.
Right.
And I found out they were in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And I thought, well, I'm going to be down there on Monday, in my sales territory. So that's the day I went in there and talked to Josh. And
wow.
He was familiar with the card. He's like, but yeah, I've never seen it with no color on it. And he kept it for a few days to see if he could find some information. He's like, I know some guys that'll jump right on top of it. Well,
right.
I think I may have come back a week later, and I brought in a Kobe Bryant card. But yeah, that's the card there.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh gave me the idea of, well, let's send it into PSA and see what happens. So we sent in the Kobe. It was an Apex Jam Session card. It came back a PSA 9.
Right.
And then that Jordan card came back as a misprint, an unslabbed misprint.
Interesting.
But still, then I wasn't, crazy about the card, right? I was like, oh, well, I was a little disappointed. I just wanted it to be in a slab more than anything.
Right.
Brought it back home, threw it in a box, and that's where it sat for 2 more years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I guess here recently I went down to see Josh, and I had some stuff I was just looking to move. And he introduced me to another guy that was working at the shop with him. And he said, this is Charlie. And me and Charlie went next door and sat down and talked, and he bought the lot that I had. And I said, well, while I'm at it, I got some other stuff in the truck. Would you be interested in looking at it? And he's like, yeah, sure. Go ahead and bring it in here. And it was some graded Jordans, some Shaq numbered cards, and one of them had a signature. But I laid them on Charlie's desk, and I'm like, look, I want to sell you this lot here, but I want to show you this card and see what you can tell me about it.
Right.
And same story. It went with Josh. He's like, yes, I know the card, but I've never seen it in, let's call it that variation, if you will. So we talked a little bit more about it, and that's when we agreed he was going to hold on to it and see if he could generate any information for me. And I still to this day have not. I still can't tell you any more than I knew about it the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
What you guys are, and for you guys that are watching, this is the PSI 9 version of this card, and you could see, and I'm going to sort of toggle back and forth. This is the card that Tony pulled back in the day in '98, and this is the PSA version of this card, the PSA 9 version of this card. Yeah. So it's clear that we're missing a whole bunch of color here.
Yeah, I don't know when you put the picture of my card up, Mike. I don't know if it actually the viewers can tell, but there's actually a line above each column of numbers. It looks like they got ready to start printing the color.
Yes, right here.
Yeah, above each section, the color's there, and it's like, it stopped. I don't know if the power kicked off or the printer ran out. The printer ran out of ink. I don't know.
Yeah, someone fell asleep and hit the button. But
the odd thing about it, though, the way I've Googled, how they, print cards and these sheets and whatnot. So it had to have happened to other cards,
right,
along that same line. But that's, as far as I know, that's the only card that's ever been pulled like that. Yeah. And there was a couple of other things I did. Yeah. It's a funny story. I didn't know when I got home from finding out the card was declared a misprint and unslabbed. I went home and Googled Michael Jordan card collectors.
Right.
I Googled everything. Okay. Yeah. I Googled everything. Right. And this guy's name, Nat Turner, comes up as this prolific collector.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
He just happens to have a really cool job too.
Did not know that at the time. Right.
And for you guys who are listening and don't know who Nat Turner is, he's the CEO of PSA.
Yeah, he's the big dog.
He's the
but at the time, this was 2 years ago, I didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm going to be that dude that goes and creates an Instagram account just so I can get access to Nat Turner. Right. I created an Instagram and started following that, and then sent him a message, DM'd him, whatever you call it. And I was like, hey, Nat, I hear you're a big collector of Michael Jordan. I sent this into PSA, and they sent it back as a misprint. I'm not really sure why. I was hoping you could shed some light on it. And he said, yeah, we don't grade or we don't slab misprints. And I'm thinking, why did he say we?
Yeah.
You know? And then that's when I got on my phone and Googled again Matt Bird. And I go, shit, this is the guy with PSA. Right?
Fantastic. Heck, that's a better story than when you pulled the card.
That's why I'm saying the first day that I pulled it in '98, it was not an interesting story until the last couple of years.
That's great. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, and so I just have one more question, and you answered it already. It sat in a cardboard box, and so you never entered. I mean, did you ever think about it 2 years ago after you showed it and said, you know what, I'll just put an astronomical number on this, and if Nat Turner wants to buy it for his own collection, he can?
No, because I see those guys on eBay putting these astronomical numbers on something,
right?
And hoping, and I call it fishing, right?
Yeah,
they're throwing it out there and see if somebody's going to bite.
And I'm sure you see that because of what you collect, right? I'm sure you see some of that with these refractors, right?
Yeah, they just throw it out there and see if you're going to buy it on it. I'm sure somebody does, because that's the reason they do it. They, seen somebody get away with it before. But no, I never had any interest in selling it. No interest in putting a crazy price on it, because I don't know anything about the card.
Right.
All I know is it's soul of the game, 98. But with the printing issue, I can't. I don't know. I'm in all likelihood, I'll probably just keep the card myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time.
No,
this has been fun. You and I have not met face to face. I'm looking forward to that day.
Yeah, we should. Next time you're down at the shop.
Absolutely. I'll let you know when I'm there, and we'll break bread and talk about more cardboard. So, Tony, good luck. Good luck at your daughter's softball game. Hopefully we're gonna
start loading the car up here in just a few minutes.
Absolutely. Safe travels, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Mike. See y'all. Bye.
Wait, we got to unmute. So there it is.
there you go. There's the story of the card. Tony's super nice. I got to know him a little bit before that interview, and he was gracious with his time. He was pretty busy today, but he knew that we wanted to get him on the podcast. So crazy story.
We got to change his mind on that if we get a big enough offer.
Well, there you go. Let's go ahead and catch up.
Let's throw up another code.
With the comments.
Jacob,
yep.
Time for code number 3 for our listeners.
And while that
4461, Michael Hush. 4461 AB for Antonio Bryant. Oh wait, no. 4461 AB.
Josh, any thoughts about the interview?
No, it's kind of what I already knew about the card. Yeah. My recollection sounded like it was pretty similar to his. If this is the only card, it's just odd that none others have surfaced.
Right.
Justin asks, how do these codes work? So you got to go to GrandSlamBreaksRockHill.com, the break page at the top, click on your account, click on edit, and there'll be a little tab. Earlier in the podcast, if you watch it later, we walked through a tutorial on how to claim those. So you might go back, rewatch it, and then next podcast, you'll be ready to go to claim some more, because we'll probably do some every podcast. So
we did have some listener questions. We'll probably push those off till next week. I did want to address one that was dropped into the comments. Josh, you want to go ahead and read this one out?
Yeah, Justin says, I have a question if you want to discuss later. I've watched a lot of NFL breaks and tend to see the same players pulled over and over. A lot of Jets and Falcons recently. Do you guys see the same? Also, if one player hits in a box or a case, they tend to hit again later. Thanks, guys. So I would say that's a combination of a couple things. Sometimes, like this class, there's just a lot of Jets rookies. And so if a team has a lot of rookie picks, they just have a lot of rookies in the product. And so it's always like, we always joke around in the shop. It's like, you'll find 3 Sauce Gardner cards in a row in a box. It's obviously a whoops. But you never find 3 Trevor Lawrence cards right in a row, or 3 Mike Trout cards or something. So it's a little weird how that, it never happens. But yeah, I'm just reading the comment there. But so that's probably some of it. That is the downside to a break, especially when you're in a full case, is if you get that one team, you're just going to hit all night long. And there's just some checklists that just don't have a lot of players in it. So that's probably one of it. So, the draft class is being really heavy with those players. And then I think it's just a matter of they put more of the lower end guys in these products, because there's no denying that, the Trevor Lawrences don't get pulled as often as the, Amon-Ra's or some of the other lesser known guys. So that's part of it. Right. Tell me your thoughts if you have any.
No, I mean, if you are, some of it is just like, whenever you buy a car or you use a phone or buy a new phone, you start seeing that phone everywhere. So I think it might be a little bit of that too. You sometimes if you're looking for something, you'll find it. Certainly coalition issues with some products, you're going to get that. But, just make sure that when you're doing the break thing that you're having fun. It's easy to get frustrated in breaks, especially if you're not getting any hits, or in randoms you're not getting your teams. If you're not getting your teams in randoms, go find some pick your team breaks. You may not like the price of some of the teams that you're picking, but I think law of averages, if you are in enough breaks, things tend to even out over time.
Yeah, and I just thought too, like, it's really weird. You'll get like an entire case of cards. Guys will be opening boxes and boxes of that same case, and they'll put a set together, and it's like the same players, certain players are missing, and then you'll buy a random box out of the next case, and it'll have all those missing cards that first case didn't have. So there's some weird correlations there sometimes, where some cases or some boxes are just really heavy with certain players, but it's like you need a box with the run of cards that you're looking for. So, so I was looking at the worst shot in basketball, said Grand Slam should display the card with a bodyguard like the mantle. That's funny.
There you go. Yeah, we'll just have Jerome just sit next to it the whole time. All right, we do have other questions. I think we're going to push those to next week because of the interview. I didn't realize how long it was. So let's go ahead and thank you. Keep sending questions in, either in the comments or go to our homepage for the podcast, and you can actually leave a voicemail for us. I'd love to see how that works, and then we'll play that live during the episode and see if we can answer the question. So those will be screened, by the way, before we play them.
No video or no recordings of fart noises. I have a question for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate that. I'll have to clip that one. Jacob, make sure you clip that when we get that on the loop.
I need to be careful. Everything's
all right. So we're going to get to listener questions next week, because I don't want to run too long. We've been running along the last couple of weeks. Josh, do you have a card from the vault ready to go?
I do. So this is confession, not my card. It's a card I just brokered a deal for today from two of our customers. So one of our customers sent me a picture of this card, and I happen to know that one of my other customers is a big fan of this TV show. And so I brokered the deal in between them. A sale was made. I currently have the card just until it gets picked up. But this is really cool. This is a 1990 Topps Simpsons card. This is, don't laugh, Bart Simpson's rookie card.
Yeah.
So this is his first card. So this is an SGC 10. The cool thing about this is, according to Population Report, there is only two
One. It's just
this is that's why they slab them and bag them. This is the only SGC 10. No, now I'm all flustered. There's 2 SGC 10s and there's 2 PSA 10s. So in theory, only 4 of this card exists with a 10 on it. And so it's not a cheap card, believe it or not. But I thought that was really cool. A Simpsons fan got this card and will have it in his own collection soon. I thought that would be a cool card for tonight's podcast. We have another code before Michael shows his comic from the vault. The next code, 446A62. Wait, is that correct, Joe? Is there enough spots? I thought the little code spot only had 5 spots. I don't know. That's got to be right. If Joe's watching, it's got 6. Okay. Yeah, I've been told by our producer that it has 6. I was just told. So 446A62, claim it while it lasts.
Get it while it's hot, guys. It's like the red light at
also before
Krispy Kreme.
Michael shows his comic / card from the vault. We're going to start a new segment next week that's called Hits from the Shop. And basically, all week long, when customers hit really cool cards in the shop, I'm going to save the pictures, and we'll just do a little show off of some really cool stuff that got hit in the shop. And for example, before you show yours, because this kind of goes along with today, this would be an example of what you'll see, because this card was hit from the shop today, a Justin Herbert downtown.
Oh,
so
nice.
That would be an example of some of the stuff that gets hit by customers. We take pictures of it and we'll show it. So Justin Hiller just said, I missed earlier how to use the code. You'll have to go back and watch. We walked through a little tutorial. It's on the Grand Slam Breaks Rock Hill page. You got to go to your account. And there's a little edit button and a little tab. So we walked through a tutorial earlier. So go back and watch the beginning and be ready for next week's.
Absolutely. So my card / comic from the vault, and I don't know why these comics are coming my way, but I saw this before the Raleigh show opened up, and I had to have it. I didn't even know what I was looking at, and I had to have it. So this is 2015 Uncanny X-Men number 32. I thought the cover was super cool. It's like a watercolor. That's young Magneto with, I think, Emma Frost. But that, my friends, is a Stan Lee.
I see that.
Autograph. And it says it right here. Autographed by Stan Lee. So I was blown away at it. Just, if you guys don't know, I like the Allen and Ginter. I like the Gypsy Queen. I like that sort of aesthetic, and this falls right into that. And the fact that it's just a cool shot. And then with Stanley's auto, I had it. I had to have it. So this one will be in the collection for a while. So that's my card from the vault. Josh, what's coming to the shop next week?
So we've got a few products next week, just so I can highlight this. So 2022 Bowman's Best Baseball, always a favorite of the shop. Another staple product, Donruss Basketball, is next week. Flawless Basketball, I don't know if I'm getting allocation yet, hopefully. And Immaculate Football, which is another biggin'. Leaf Valiant Football is the other one. So some of these dates bounce around. I know we're over a week out, so sometimes these dates change a little bit. But as of right now, those are next week's releases.
Real quick. So Flawless, traditionally, that's like, it doesn't get higher end than that. Probably Eminence, right? Gets a little higher than Flawless. But Flawless is the top of the food chain as far as Panini products.
Yeah.
And let's just say Flawless is here and Hoops is here. Where's Immaculate there?
Yeah, so I would say like Flawless and National Treasures is up here.
Mm-hmm.
And did you say Immaculate?
Yeah, immaculate.
It's like right here. It's not too far down if you're going down to hoops here, because then you got Prism Select and Mosaic.
So it's still it's still a premium product.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
So, but it's a little more attainable. I mean, if you want to play in those deep waters, at least that's a little more attainable on the high end side.
Flawless seems to sell for a higher price, but it seems like the National Treasures cards tend to be the top of the food chain as far as certain ones. So,
on top of the discussion of what's coming to the shop next week, what's coming to trade night, or when is trade night coming back into focus for March?
So we let's mark it on your calendars, everyone. So trade night is morphing into trade show, and we're going to do it again at the gym. And pencil it in. We can't write it in marker yet. Probably need one more day to write it in marker. But March 25th, Saturday. Just clear your schedules if you're interested in setting up or attending that trade show / trade night. We're going to use the entire gym. We're going to have more tables. We're going to extend the hours a little earlier in the day, probably 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock. So you'll get a little more bang for your table buck. Do not message me about buying a table yet. I'll have to do that at a certain point because it's not set in stone yet, but we will advertise all that very soon when the day is set in stone. But pencil it in, March 25th. It's a month away.
Fantastic. All right. I do not have this because the dog ate my homework, but what is your crazy stat of the week? And then we let these folks go.
Yes. So I've got a good one. In fact, I've got two good ones. I'll do two since you don't have one. This first one is about Ted Williams. They're both baseball ones. So Ted Williams played in the major leagues from 1939 to 1960. That's a good career. You know, sometimes they went off to war and did stuff back then, but that's a pretty long career. And during that time, he had the highest batting average, the most home runs, and the most RBIs of all MLB players.
Wow.
It was literally a career triple crown during that time period. That's pretty insane. So
crazy.
I found that, and then I saw this one, and I'm like, man, you remember how we talked about Tony Gwynn could play for an entire season, go 0 for 5 every game, and still have a career batting average over 300. That was one of our previous crazy stats. Well, we know Pete Rose is the hit king, right? The all-time hit king. This dude could hit. If Pete Rose returned to baseball, he could go 750 for 750. He could get 750 straight base hits, and Tony Gwynn would still have a higher career batting average. That's insane. This isn't like a scrub. This is Pete Rose.
Yeah.
Could go 750 for 750 and still be under Tony Gwynn for career batting average. That, my friends, is a crazy stat.
That is crazy. All right, buddy. Any closing thoughts before we let everybody go?
My only closing thoughts, Michael's doing the break potentially tonight. You'll need to probably give me a little heads up, and I can let the group know. If Michael doesn't do it tonight, he'll be doing it tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
And we'll post the time. So thank you all for filling that. If you missed out, we got another code too for all of our users that stayed till the end. For anyone that missed out on the Hobby Box Tops break, we got more. We'll probably post more. Jerome wants to do one of those badly, so we're going to let Jerome do one of those. Another break credit, 44727F as in Frank, 44727F. Thank you guys for staying long enough to redeem some of those codes. That would be great. $5 isn't much, but that Tops break you're doing was $13 a spot. So that literally almost chops it in half. So
absolutely. All right, guys.
If you claim a couple of them, you might get a free spot. So.
Claim those codes, like, subscribe, leave a review. Let us know what we're doing right. Let us know what we're doing wrong. We always want to get better. Thank you for being here, Josh. Thank you. Jacob, thank you. See you guys. Bye.
Peace. 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 Peace.